Too early to talk about Christmas? I don't think so. Hello and welcome to my garden shed. If you are anything like me and you like to be quite well organized for Christmas, you will probably around this time now start to think about Christmas gifts. I have my ongoing gifts list always on the back of my usual everyday notebook, so that if I get an idea for a particular gift for a particular person, I'll just stick it in there and I'll simply refer to it when the time comes. Today I wanted to focus on gifts for those who love books and anything books related, and also I wanted to keep those gifts under £20, simply to allow for most budgets, but also to show that you don't have to spend a lot of money when it comes to books and bookish things, and they still can bring you and your loved ones lots of joy. Now, just to preempt it quickly, that in today's list, I will not be presenting any particular, especially fiction books, because everyone has their very specific tastes. You don't know what they've already read, and I think it's very risky to buy a specific fiction book unless you 100% know that they haven't read it and that they don't have it. But what I want to present to you is a few sort of evergreen options, and the first of those is a really nice classic book edition. Who wouldn't want to receive, for example, this absolutely stunning edition of Mansfield Park, which is a hardcover by Vintage Classics. It has these colored edges, it has a bookmark and just stunning cover design. And another example I have here is Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. This is by Page Classics. This is a bigger book, but it only cost me £7.99 from a TK Maxx, which is a chain here in the UK. It is just stunning, and I will be talking about both of those editions more in my episode 2 of classic book editions, which is coming soon. And the reason why I think a classic book, especially a beautiful edition of a classic book, will always work, because even if they have Mansfield Park, even if they have Crime and Punishment, they probably have it in the regular paperback, or even if they already have it in a special edition, they might want to, by way of a collection, have another edition. So I think that's a safe bet. Another safe option, I think, is non-fiction that will be of particular interest to any book lovers. For example, this gorgeous book titled Writers, Their Lives and Work, which I'll be gifting to myself. This is like a coffee book, but inside you have actually huge amount of very interesting information on most popular authors. And so it happens, I opened this book on the page with the information on Gustave Flaubert, and I'm just about to start reading Madame Bovary, and I absolutely love this idea that I can just open this book, scan through these pages before I get into Madame Bovary without opening any of my devices. I think this would be such a safe bet for any book lovers, maybe even for children and teenagers, also as a coffee book. By the way, I purchased this for £3.50. This is a used version because I knew I would be using it, but actually it's an excellent condition. New book costs, according to the price at the back, £20. But I will list all the prices below. I will double check them on major websites to give you an updated price as it is today. And one other non-fiction book I wanted to show you is this book, which is a stunner, you guys. This is The World's Most Beautiful Libraries. I have purchased this, but I'll be giving it as a gift, so I don't want to take off the plastic from it, but I will show you on the screen what it is presented like on Amazon website, for example. I love the fact that this is in the format of a coffee book, but actually the size of it is not too huge, so you can put it on your shelf. Let me just show you so you can see the sizes. This one is the size of a regular hardback, so it can just sit comfortably between your normal books on your shelves. And if you've been on this channel, you know that I absolutely love libraries, anything to do with libraries, and I think this is such a lovely gift which I would love to receive myself as well, because inside you have these gorgeous pictures and descriptions of the most beautiful libraries in the world, and maybe that could also serve as a bit of a travel incentive for you. The next idea I had, and this will not apply to all of your friends and family, but if you have someone who is not an English native speaker like me, then I think it would make for a very thoughtful present to buy them a book in their original language. And I'm saying this because recently I have read Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead by Olga Tokarczuk in its original language. I forgot to bring the book with me here to the shed, but I'll show it to you on the screen. And I had such a joy reading it. I will be talking about that book in my October reading wrap up, because this is the first book I read in Polish in the last 20 years. I have no idea why I haven't been reading more in my native language. I guess it's probably due to the fact that I have become obsessed with the English language. So I've been reading in English, but now I want to go back to reading some of the Polish classics. And I think a gift like that shows that you really have thought about it, and it's very much personalized. And these days you can get any kinds of language versions books on the internet with no problems at all. Another book that I thought would show that you put a little bit of care into a gift is a travel guide or travel book, or a book relating to a particular country that you know they're planning to visit, or maybe they have always wanted to visit. I know that these days you can get all the information you need, all the travel information you need on the phone, but I think there's something nice about reading about a particular country or city in a physical book. And so, for example, if you know they are planning a weekend in Paris, you could get them a book on Paris. Or for example, if you know that they love walking, you could get them some kind of a guide on local walks. That's the kind of gift that doesn't only show your loved ones that you have thought about what to buy them, and you have listened to them, and you have personalized it, but also it shows that you support their ideas, their adventures, and maybe that will prompt them to take finally that trip that they have always planned. And one more present in the category of books is a signed copy of a book. Now, I know that in the beginning of the video I mentioned that I personally am very weary of risking it with buying fiction books for anyone, but the exception here is a signed copy, because obviously that makes it for a little bit that more special item. And just to give you an example, one of the books I read in September, this happened to be non-fiction actually, was The Secret Painter by Joe Tucker, about his uncle Eric Tucker, who was a painter in Warrington. And I found out that the author of the book is actually coming to the local area where I live to do a talk, and he'll be signing books as well. So I signed myself up. The ticket was only £10, and I think the book costs £10. So altogether, this gift still won't cost me more than £20. And I already know to whom I'll be giving that book. So again, it's a gift with a bit more special touch. Okay, now we're entering a category of bookish things that are actually not books, but books related. The first on my list is an e-reader cover, whether that's Kindle or anything else. Obviously, you will need to know the model that they have, but from time to time, we all want to refresh the look of our e-reader, and also these covers, they do get worn down. So that's a nice gift. And then the second item I wanted to recommend is a bookmark. Now you may be thinking to yourself, oh, come on, that's really boring. I can't tell you how many bookmarks I have lost. Who doesn't constantly lose their bookmarks? And if you give something that is that little bit more special, maybe not plastic, maybe paper or leather with their initials on it. For example, I have given a couple of leather bookmarks to friends and family recently, and honestly it doesn't even cost that much because they are tiny items, so even a real leather will not set you back further than here in the UK it will be something like £10. Again, I will link below the specific Etsy page that I used here in the UK, but there are plenty of them. And then for number 3, as a gift that is not a book but is bookish, is a subscription to World of Books. Now this is not really a subscription in a sense as you would imagine other subscriptions where you get one book a month, for example. I was part of a subscription like that, and actually it didn't work for me because the books that I was getting in the post, they weren't actually my cup of tea, and that may be because I'm a bit of a control freak and my TBR is huge as it is, and I do like to have a say over my TBR, so that may work for some, but obviously that is a much more expensive gift. If you do that, then I would make sure that they can cancel it at any time as opposed to being locked into it for a year. Now with World of Books, it's actually not subscription, it's called World of Books Plus. It costs £14.99. I have it, and what it means is basically that for a year, any book you ordered, which is a used book, they sell mostly used books, but also new books as well. So you get 10% on all the used books. And also as you signed up, you get a free book, plus all of the delivery, at least here in the UK, is completely free. So normally I think you need to order minimums worth of £15. But if you have this World of Books Plus, then basically you can order even one book and they will post it to you immediately. I have loved my experience with World of Books, and this is why I can confidently recommend them to you. The next gift in this category is a bookish outing. So I live in the UK and I live about 1 hour away from Jane Austen's museum, Jane Austen's house, and I think this would be such a nice outing. If someone gave me a voucher or letter that said an outing including lunch and a visit to Jane Austen's house, I would absolutely love it. I think it's also a great idea for an elderly person who is maybe not as mobile and cannot get around as much. And it doesn't have to be obviously a museum, it could be an interesting bookstore. For example, here in the UK in Bath we have Persephone Books, or it could be an outing to go to a book signing event. Okay, I think we are at number 11, and here we have something very simple but practical, which is a reading light. Even if the person you're buying your gift for has already a reading light, they could do with a spare one, because if their battery runs out, for example, it's always good to have a spare one. Also, I tend to leave mine behind when I travel. I simply forget them, so I don't think you can have too many reading lights lying around the house, especially now it's getting dark, and sometimes you may even need them in your living room if you don't want to turn on the main light but you want to continue reading late into the evening. Then you can just use your little reading light that lives in your living room as opposed to the one that lives in your bedroom. And the final item in this category is a book bag or tote bag. Obviously, you can get one of the more famous ones, like the Don't Bookshop canvas bag, which is very popular, and especially for someone who, for example, enjoys something that maybe some of their favorite celebrities are using as well, then that would be a great gift. But you can also get one from Etsy and customize it a bit. It's a canvas bag, so it will always be practical, and if it's something with a book theme on it, then any book lover will appreciate that much more. We're entering stationery category now. From my experience, most of people who love books also love a nice stationery, and even if they don't have special love for stationery, they will need stationery because they may want to, for example, write down their thoughts about the books they've read. So I have a few items in here that I would always love to receive. I'm a big stationery fan. I love beautiful stationery, and I'm sure lots of you out there love it too. So, first of all, let me introduce you to my latest obsession, which is called a fountain pen. So obviously it's not the first time I use a fountain pen. I used to really try hard to get into fountain pens with no luck, not because I didn't enjoy them, but because for some reason they would always dry out in the most crucial moments when I was, for example, in a very important meeting, and it'd be very embarrassing, for example, for me to have to borrow a pen from my boss because my fountain pen was not working properly, until one of you gorgeous, wonderful subscribers, thank you so much for a comment that saved my life when it comes to fountain pens, because you told me that with fountain pens you have to take care of them in a special way, and the crucial thing is to use the right paper, which has to be a very high quality and quite glossy. And I think this is one thing that I was doing wrong, because I was using all kinds of notebooks, and in fact I remember some of them had quite rough paper, and what happens with rough paper is that the little threads of the paper get into your nib and basically block it. Well, that has not happened since I've been using this and using it properly on a glossy paper. And also I love this fountain pen. This is £19 on Amazon. It's called Lamy. If you are a fan of fountain pens, you obviously have heard of this pen. I know I sound so exciting as if I've just discovered it, but I have never heard of this before. This is so smooth, and it is made from plastic, which normally wouldn't be my preference, but because it's made from plastic, it's so light. And also here, I don't know if the camera will be able to pick it up, but it has these grooves, which makes holding of the pen extremely comfortable. This is amazing. Also, it comes in all kinds of different colors. So a fountain pen or any other nice pen, it's always a nice gift. And then a second gift in this category is obviously a nice notebook, because you need to use that beautiful pen on something, right? So, quick sip of tea. So you could get them a regular notebook, a pretty notebook, you could personalize it, or you could get them a reading journal. And I again will link below a website that does these sort of things, where you already have sections within a notebook for the title, for the author, for the notes about the book, etc. And you can of course personalize them. I always like to receive a notebook. I never get bored, so I can't be the only one. I have two more gifts in stationery category. The next one is a beautiful letter writing paper and envelopes. So I have this set which I gifted myself last year, and every time I open it I am just so excited to write a letter. Again, I will link the website below because I don't remember what it was, but inside you have this beautiful creamy paper with a very simple, this sort of Florentine design type thing. I adore it. Let me show you the envelopes. Again, plain creamy, but inside you've got the same pattern as on the writing paper, and the quality is just stunning. The camera will probably not pick this up, but the design is slightly shiny. In between the navy, you've got this sort of golden sparkliness, which makes it even more special. Okay, and the final gift in the stationery category, it's a bit of a strange one. So obviously, in terms of the safe type of book that you could buy someone, especially if they like to cook, is a cookbook. But how many cookbooks do you see when you go to a second-hand bookstore? Hundreds, right? So these are the probably most underutilized books in the world. Sadly, I have stopped buying cookbooks, and now if I am looking for some kind of inspiration, I will just borrow one from a library, and then I will get my family to flag the pages with the recipes that they want us to try. I will try these, and then if I like them, I will basically photocopy it, and then I will put it in the folder with the family recipes. So this is just a regular presentation folder you can buy on Amazon. You can buy a little bit nicer one and spend more money, or you can buy this basic black one like I did. And what I did was I just stuck this front page that says family recipes, and inside I have sections which I just separated with the regular sort of page tabs that I use for my normal everyday notebook. And so I have, you know, vegetarian dishes, meat dishes, side dishes, bread, desserts, cookies, because my daughter's obsessed with baking cookies, and any non-chocolate recipes because my son hates chocolatey things. Yes, I know. I have no idea where he came from. And honestly, this is my little Bible. It lives in the kitchen. And because let's face it, most of the time, what do we do with recipes if we're looking for one? We look on internet for a recipe, right? And then what do? We print it. And then what do we do with those printed copies? We usually recycle them, or they just get lost. In this way, you've got something that you can continue to add new recipes to, and also you can personalize it, which I think makes it for a perfect gift, especially, for example, from a grandchild to their grandparent, because they could, for example, draw something in the front and customize it, and also insert the favorite recipes by their grandparents. I honestly think this is such a great and such an affordable idea. I have not seen anyone talking about this. The final category I have named Other, because these are technically not directly book related things. But I think most book lovers will love these, because all of these things go very well with reading. So first of all, of course, I'm talking about candles. I love a beautifully looking and beautifully smelling candle. Especially, I love to have one when I'm reading. I have here with me one by Rituals, which never ever let me down. I'm not sure if this is a brand that is available worldwide, but here in the UK, they are just such good quality. And then another, not directly related to books present, but something that I think any bookish person will love, is either a t-shirt or a sweatshirt with some kind of a book theme on the front. So I got this for my birthday, and it is a massive oversized sweatshirt, which is in this dark green color, and it has on the front, apart from some fluff, this very dainty design with just a couple of words. Two things I'm obsessed with: books and tea, and that's it. And I swear I wear this almost every day. I think if you get a t-shirt, you can definitely buy a t-shirt for under £20. I think for something like this, a sweatshirt will probably set you extra £5 depending on quality and where you're getting it from. But again, of course, I will link it all below. And talking about tea, of course, what goes well with reading? Drinking a nice cup of tea. Unless you're a coffee lover, then for those of you it will be coffee. But I absolutely love tea and I drink, I'm not exaggerating, I probably drink about 2 liters of tea per day. All kinds of tea. I love English breakfast, but I also love all kinds of herbal tea. My favorite herbal tea has been for a very long time this one by Bookworm, and it is called After Dinner. They renamed it. It used to be called something different, but it has a little bit of fennel and a little bit of cardamom in there, and it's just got that little bit of a kick, which I absolutely love. But I need to tell you about my latest discovery, which is a loose leaf tea. I can't believe I'm saying it, because basically I have become one of those people. I have become a tea snob. And now, so far only when it comes to black tea, English breakfast tea, which I drink mostly in the morning, I've been drinking loose tea. Nothing fancy, just the regular brand that you can get here in the UK from any supermarket. And yeah, there's no going back. So if you want to gift that to your loved one, I think that would be super nice gift. And you could pair it with, for example, teapot that has that functionality to have loose tea in there, so it's got a little sieve inside. Or you could get them a special mug that is designed also for loose tea, or you could just get them a bit nicer tea that costs a little bit more money and maybe doesn't come from your regular supermarket, and let them enjoy it. For the final gift, I have something that is a bit of a combo. So again, something that you could personalize as much as you can or want, but basically it's making your own little hamper for the book lover in your life, and you could put your items in a nice box or simply wrap it in a nice wrapping paper, or just your regular see-through plastic and put a nice big bow on top. But in terms of what could go inside, all of the items that I've just mentioned in this last category, so for example, favorite tea, a candle, maybe if you have a little bit bigger budget, you could also include things like a pair of really nice warm socks. Again, a very good thing to have when you are reading your book on a cold wintry evening. And maybe a chocolate or a nice bottle of wine. I think what's special about that sort of gift, again, you have shown that you have thought about that person and you didn't just pop down to the nearest shop on Christmas Eve and bought whatever was left on the shelves, but you thought about what to give that person and you made plans and you searched for things and then you wrapped it. Isn't it what really in the end matters? It's the thought of giving, isn't it? It's the intention as opposed to just the act of buying itself. I hope this video was helpful. I love watching videos like these where you can get inspiration on what to buy for Christmas or other occasions as well. Let me know how you get on. Also, let me know in the comments any other great gifts ideas for me as well that I could draw on that I haven't mentioned in this video. Thank you so much for subscribing, for watching my videos. It has been almost a year since I've started this YouTube journey and it has been incredible thanks to you. So thank you very much, and I'll see you as always next week on Friday. Bye for now.